We've got former Premier League referee Dermot Gallagher on the show as well. And we've asked some calls and they're all coming in right now, Derm. So we'll put in a few of you. Be nice to Derm. We love him on the show, you know, so we don't want to lose him. Let's go to Richard. He's an Arsenal fan. All right, Rich?
All right, Rich.
How you doing, guys? You okay?
I'm all right, Rich. You got a question for Derm?
Yeah, I was just curious. Re the penalty on Saturday. Do you think in real time that the referee saw the contact that Saliba, whether it be whatever kind of contact you tend to deem it, do you think he saw the contact in real time or gave the penalty due to the reaction of João Pedro?
I think the referee did really well on this because if you watch it, he takes his time. And I think by taking his time, what he's done, I can tell you from experience, what you're looking when you've got a real big decision to make, the best referees, like the best players, you create a little bit of time. What you do, you think it through. You run it through your head. What have I seen? Have I really seen this? And you just, in that brief 2-3 seconds, whatever it took, you just get all your ducks in a row. And I think he said, yeah, he's caught him in the head. The ball struck the top of his head, yes, but that's because João Pedro's headed it on, and he's given a penalty. Now, people say to me, well, it's so unusual. Well, it's unusual because we don't normally see that. It's an incident that often when there's a head clash, it's two players in the air, and they land on the ground together because they've clashed heads, they've come together. But this, Saliba actually stood up. He's knocked João Pedro to the ground. And I think when you see it on the replay, a phrase I use is you can't unsee something. You know the referee's given it, so you're looking for what he's given, and you find it very quickly. It's not hard to find what he's seen.
Just one thing that I think Richard might be alluding to. Apology, Richard, if it's not. But if João Pedro stays on his feet, right, same incident, stays on his feet, is a penalty given?
Can't tell you that, Jamie. Because
what do you think though? Because I think the fact he's gone down alerts the referee, and that's fine.
No, but everyone goes down.
Not everyone. Not everyone. That's the problem. That's why players do go down. That's why players go down to bring the referee's attention. I'm not convinced if he stays on his feet, he gets that. That's all I'm saying.
I think one of the interesting things about this, Jace, is the fact that both players were on their feet, and it's very, very unusual to have a head clash when both players are on the feet, which sells it even more that the player...
I think João Pedro genuinely gets hurt.
He could do. He could well have done.
I'm not
suggesting he hasn't.
Rich, thanks for your call. Let's go to Guy. He's a Spurs fan. All right, Guy?
Okay. Hello, Jamie. How are you?
I'm all right, Guy. I'm all right. I appreciate you coming on. I'm guessing you want to talk about the Joe Linton incident.
Well, actually, interesting. It doesn't just affect the Joe Linton one. It affects the one that was on this morning as well.
Yeah.
And it's about the idea. I heard Shearer on the commentary say it was the Joe Linton's wasn't a handball because his arms were down by his side. Now, there's a problem with the law. The arms down by the side, it looks like from side on his arms are down by his side, but in fact, you could put a ball width between his hand and his hip. In other words, you know this very well. When you're running, you run with your elbows quite close to your side because that's how you get speed. And if you want to increase your profile, all you do is you lift your arms out a little bit on both sides. The ball hit Joe Linton with his arm at least a foot away from his side. That, to me, is not having his arms down by his side. And the same as this morning. Yes, the ball hit Nasri, or what? Not Nasri, but whatever the guy's name was, and it knocked his hand away. But in fact, again, his arm was about a foot away from his side when the ball hit him.
You don't stand like a soldier, do you?
It's not a natural position.
Well, it
right?
is.
He's making himself bigger.
You don't stand like a soldier with your arms down by your side. Don't touch. You can't run like that. You can't run with your arms literally touching your knees. Go on, try and run. You can't. Look at the state of that.
You run effectively.
It's quite hard. It's quite hard, guy. That.
With your elbows quite close to your side. That's how you run. And if you want to increase your profile,
what's the question? What's the question, Gaz?
Still quite quick.
What's the question?
So what is, when the ball hits somebody on the arm and his arms are not by his side but are away from his side, he's making his profile bigger. It's not a natural position. Stand in front of a mirror, Jason.
I've got it here. I've got it here, right?
Go on.
It's there, right?
Yeah.
That's how you're standing, right? Yeah. You're standing like how Ronaldo would stand, right? When he takes his free kick.
Ronaldo.
Right? Remember he does that? Ronaldo, he stands, gives that.
Oh, yeah, go on. You look good there.
Like that?
You look good there, Jace. You look strong.
Do you want I can take a free kick?
I mean, look, just on that, it's hard to get away from the fact that I know that the handball rule now is natural position, right? And where's the cut-off point? Look, a bit like 8 Nori tonight, guy. It's right on the edge of being in outside that natural position, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, but I think going back to the Joe Linton one, which is the one that's really galvanised all this, if you watch Joe Linton, he actually starts with his arms very wide and brings them in. And he's actually going from a position where he would have definitely been penalised to a position where he's almost afraid, I've got to get my arms in as close to my body as possible. When the ball strikes him, that's as close as to his body as his arms could get at that point, because he has brought them in from an outside position. This is what I was talking about earlier, that I think players now are so wary of this that they are actually putting their arms by the sides. And as Jace just alluded to, it's the most difficult place to have them when you're trying to run.
Yeah. All right, Guy, thanks for your call. Let's go to Brett. He's a QPR fan. All right, Brett.
All right, Brett.
Hello, boys. Love your show.
Thanks, Brett. Thanks for coming on. You got a question for them?
Yeah, I just want to know, like, you're talking about, like, whether it's handball or not and Joe Linton and whatnot, but, like, when is it going to change? And if it just hits the arm or hand, it's a penalty or free kick?
Let me tell you, my friend, they did this in La Liga about 5 years ago, and it was carnage. It was absolute carnage. There was penalties given left, right and centre. There was games being held up for this. And in the end, the fans just went, we're not having this. And they had to revert back to type.
Yeah. I think if you do that, there's not an option, right? I think, didn't we go down the road of that a little bit?
We did.
A couple of seasons ago, and it was like you end up just trying to cross the ball and hit someone's hand.
Yeah, and everyone's claiming for it. Not football.
And it was just ridiculous. I kind of get the law now, and I'm more for it than arms in a natural position. I think if you go down the road of where they went, there's big problems.
Well, there's no options, is there? That's the problem.
No, there's no subjectivity on it.
Yeah. All right, Brett, thanks for calling. Let's go to Steve. He's a Man City fan. All right, Steve.
Steve-o.
Hi, Jay, all right?
Yeah, we're good, Steve. You?
Yeah, I'm cool, yeah. Listen, I want to ask Dermot. You all right, Dermot, kid?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you.
Yeah, listen, so put yourself in the position that you're the referee in the Arsenal game, yeah? The incident happened.
Ship has well and truly sailed.
Yeah. Listen, I remember you on that ship.
Yeah.
You said ship, didn't you?
He said ship.
More the bad, really. But put yourself in that position, you give the decision, and then that VAR in your ear. Why is it that 98% of the time they go over and they go against what they've just seen? If he'd have just carried on and said no penalty, we wouldn't have had all this nonsense. All I've heard is Arsenal. It's every week. You know what I mean?
Don't forget, that penalty was given by the referee, so it was nothing to do with the VAR. VAR did not give that penalty.
Well, all right, but in them incidents, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and on that basis, what you would say is that if the VAR is doing his job correctly, which is to highlight to the referee that he thinks there's a clear and obvious error being made, by definition, most times when he goes to the screen, he should actually change his mind, because it's likely that it is an error.
That's the reason he's been asked to go and have a look, because people think, Can I get that? Yeah.
All right, Steve, thanks for the call. Got one more for you, Derm. Let's go to Will. He's an Arsenal fan. All right, Will?
Right, Will?
Yeah, I'm all right. How are you guys doing?
Right, mate,
good.
Well?
Yeah, we're good.
New Year.
Happy New Year, mate. So you got a question for Derm?
Yeah, no. I mean, how do you think Taylor was able to see that was a penalty, or think it was a penalty, from where he was?
He was actually in a pretty good position, because he was just outside.
No other player, no Brighton player, thought that was a penalty. None of them reacted. How they reacted?
Well, Anthony Taylor was just north of the D on the penalty area, so he had a pretty good view of it.
Yeah.
What I said earlier, and I stand by, is that he didn't give that like a knee-jerk reaction. He thought that through, and he came to that conclusion. Once he'd given the penalty, then you, I, everybody can then have a look at the replay and dissect it, because you think, why is he given the penalty? And when you see it, you go, the evidence is there. There's no doubt whatsoever that Saliba's caught him in the side of the head with this thing. And I think he probably hurt him, because he really did catch him on the side of the head. And once you see that, it's very, very difficult to say that's not a foul.
Will, do you think all the decisions are going against you this season? Do you think there's conspiracy?
Well, it seems to happen quite a lot, actually. You know, the Declan Rice nudging the ball away. I mean, that's against Brighton again. You know, that was bizarre. The ball was kicked to him. In fact, actually, the guy kicked him. He was kicked. And he's the one getting sent off.
It was a red card. Come on, Will.
Is there conspiracy against Arsenal in that VAR room?
Card. Right.
There's no conspiracy, Jay. You know that as well as I do. You know,
these Arsenal fans seem to think there is, mate. They feel like you're mixing potions against Arsenal.
Everyone's in the same WhatsApp group.
We're all in that group, just mixing
as I
potions
said to you
every
earlier,
week.
Jamie, for every decision that goes for someone, a decision must go against someone, mustn't it? And the trouble is, we only remember the ones that go against us.
That's true. Derm, you're a star,
Derm,
mate.
appreciate that, matey. Top work.
Top man, mate.
Oh, God bless you, bud.
Yeah.
Take care, bud. Happy New Year.
You're still garbage, you lot, but, you know, that was all right.
Cheers, Derm.
Take care.
All right, Dermot Gallagher there, former Premier League referee.
The Sports Bar with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. Monday to Thursday nights from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.